Government has proposed a draft policy for E85 implementation across the country. What it means for you, what it means for us, I have with me the right person to talk about it, Mr. Vikram Gulati. Thank you so much for joining us today. Sir, you have been a proponent for ethanol and flex fuel vehicle for the longest time. I want to understand, what does this E85 draft policy mean? I know it's open for discussion, but what does E85 mean for common people?
Well, this draft actually is a correction of the earlier notification which was issued a couple of years back. So it's just rectifying some shortcomings of the earlier draft. For a common man, it only means that this is an enabling provision for flex fuel vehicles to come in, which can operate between any mix, anything between, let's say, E20 to E85 and now even E100. So this provision from the Ministry of Road Transport and Highways is essential for companies to roll out flex fuel vehicles.
Okay, so make me understand, you said that it is correcting something which was missing earlier. What was that, and why did we need this draft proposal?
Well, there were some minor, I think, errors which had to be corrected, but I think a significant difference between the earlier one and this one is, earlier one indicated E85 as the upper limit, and this one has E100.
Okay.
This allows for FFVs to be defined as vehicles which can use E20 to E85 and also beyond. So if there is, let's say, a company which comes out with E20 to E100, that will also be called a flex fuel, logically speaking. So that was a bit of a gap. So as to avoid any confusion going ahead, that has been clarified. So this is an enabling provision for people to come out with flexi fuel vehicles.
Right now, there is a bit of confusion in people's mind that this 85% blend will be used for their vehicle, their existing vehicle. However, that's really not the case, is it?
No, it's absolutely not the case. In future, when flexi fuel vehicles are introduced, consumers will have the option of filling up either the E20, which is a regular fuel right now, and if they do have flexi fuel vehicles and they wish to use ethanol, they can fill up E85 or E100, whichever is available.
So you mean there will be regular vehicles and there will be flex fuel vehicles. Flex fuel vehicles can take E20 and can take E85 as well. But as our vehicles stand today, they cannot take E85, right?
Absolutely correct. So vehicles which are currently in the market right now are all aligned for E20, which is a regular fuel. Going ahead, as companies come out with flex fuel vehicles, which are vehicles which can use any blend of ethanol, they will have the flexibility of using any mix, whether it's 20, 85, 100, or anything in between, simply because the technology enables you to use any blend of petrol and ethanol.
Okay. And the E20 fuel, as we know, the regular base fuel, as it's called, that will be available for everybody.
Absolutely. That will be available even for people who have flexi fuel vehicles. They can use E20. That's the beauty of the regime. This regime has been in place in many countries, including Brazil, where their regular gasoline, in their case it's E27, is available along with pure ethanol. And it's up to the consumer to decide which fuel he would like to use. Of course, their flexi fuel vehicles have been around for a long time.
Yeah.
And in India, these are likely to be introduced once you have enabling policies in place by the government.
Interestingly, you mentioned E27 in Brazil, and there are some noise about increasing the ethanol blend in the regular base fuel as well. Is that something that you have heard that is being considered for now?
I don't think so. I think we're just in a phase where we're stabilizing E20. Of course, it's not right for me to talk about what government may or may not be considering.
Yeah.
But I think there is a very clear move towards FFVs.
So now, when what's going to happen next? This draft proposal, if it becomes reality, because this is again still a draft, when it becomes reality, that means it paves the way for the launch of flex fuel vehicles.
Well, flex fuel vehicles, technically speaking, could have been launched earlier also.
Okay.
So this one, like I said, is only clarifying some doubts around the upper limit that would be there for flex fuel vehicles. Earlier, it was designed.
It was capped at 85.
85. Now it's 85 or higher, that is around 100.
Okay.
That's the only difference. And this is more from a point of view of testing and certification and homologation of vehicles. It really doesn't impact customers at all.
Okay. Now, E85 fuel, as we know it today, I don't think it's available anywhere, right?
No, it is available. We, in fact, I've been running a pilot project
Okay.
of using the FFE SHEV Innova, and it's been running now for 2 years. And there is dispensation that is there where you can get E100, and we've been using the facility that is available. Earlier, I believe the oil marketing companies had put up a number of pumping stations which were able to also dispense E100. Our understanding is now that the government is moving to enable a flex fuel environment. One of the things that they would obviously have to do is to now roll out fuel stations which also are able to provide both E20 and E100/E85.
Okay. So, Toyota has been at the forefront of flex fuel technology globally as well. By when do you think flex fuel vehicles will become a reality in the country?
They can come very fast. In fact, all of the OEMs, most of the OEMs, in fact, whether they're in the four-wheeler space or two-wheeler space, have showcased prototypes. It's not a very difficult technology to do. Most of the parts and systems in the ecosystem exists in India itself. I think what the industry is really waiting for right now is enablers. These policy enablers are essential so that consumer adoption is there.
Yeah.
This includes, the CAFE regulation, which is awaited. That in the draft form has a very good, suitable enablers in place. We're also talking to the government as an industry for not only having the dispensing infrastructure, but also in terms of adequate price difference between ethanol and regular E20.
Okay.
And some sort of, financial scheme to support the buying of the flex fuel vehicles and electrified flex fuel vehicles, because these vehicles, their manufacturing costs are higher than the regular petrol vehicles, as is the case for any other clean technology.
But do you think right now OEMs are holding back because they might be thinking that there is not enough E85 fuel dispensation, and customers will also feel apprehensive because E85 is not available for them, that because the rollout hasn't happened at a large scale. It is available, as you said, at some certain places, but it's not available at large scale. Hence, spending that extra money might be a challenge for people even when the flex fuel vehicle comes to the market?
No, I don't think that's the issue. Because currently, if you look at the Indian scenario, we need around 1,050 crore liters for E20 program, add another couple of hundred for other industrial uses. So the capacities that exist today are well beyond 800 to close to 2,000 crore liters. There is in fact surplus ethanol that is available, which is actually causing a distress at the side of ethanol producers. They are not able to utilize their capacity, fully. So fuel availability is not an issue.
But rollout is an issue, right?
Because creating the dispensation infrastructure is again not much of an issue. It can be done very rapidly. The government earlier had enabled 400 pumping stations in a very short span of time.
Okay.
Right. So of course this rollout will have to happen in an orderly, phased manner, looking at pockets where there is high sale of vehicles as well as ample availability of surplus ethanol. I think what the industry is really looking at is the enablers, like I mentioned, policies that are now needed for both the OEMs to start manufacturing these technologies as well as for seeing customer acceptability for them.
For the demand push.
Demand.
Okay, so you expect that the CAFE norms, when they come, that will resolve many of these issues?
Well, CAFE norms essentially are essential for OEMs,
Yeah.
right? Because you see, ethanol is a carbon neutral fuel and it substitutes fossil fuels, right? And the CAFE norm, by its very nature,
but yeah, exactly. Sure, go ahead.
is a regime which is meant to reduce fossil fuel consumption, right? By its very nature. So, on a scientific basis, the industry has been discussing with the government to provide the correct, justifiable, logical, scientific treatment to ethanol, which they've done in the draft, and we are thankful to government. So, whether it's the volume derivation factor or whether it's the carbon neutrality factor, these are technical terms. But basically, what it means is how ethanol is treated as an energy, clean energy, is in place in the draft, final draft, which the industry has already discussed with the government. I think we're all just waiting for the final notification to come, and I would say eagerly waiting for that, so that there is clarity, and this would actually help clear the roadmap for OEMs, what powertrain mix they need to go ahead with. So it's more from the OEM confidence in terms of deciding the powertrain mix in the future, because it's a regime that's going to be in place from 27 to 32. It's very important to have that clarity. For the consumer side, it's really the policies on, how do you incentivize purchase of a flex fuel vehicle, and how do you make sure that the difference in pricing of ethanol and E20 is enough for the consumer to adopt it, because there is a fuel efficiency drop with ethanol when you use that as the predominant mix.
Yeah. So do we have any window to foresee whether something like this will actually happen, where consumers will be compensated for, not compensated, but maybe subsidized, incentivized for adoption?
I think if you look at the current situation we are going through, energy security was always an issue, decarbonization has always been an issue, pollution has always been an issue. Ethanol checks off on all these boxes, right? Today, as we speak, the average basket of the crude that India imports is around $119 to $120. A month before the war, it was $69. The average last year was $78. For every $10 increase in the crude, basket, it means roughly 16 to 18 billion dollars of additional
load on
forex import, right? Import bill on an annualized basis, and it means almost 0.4 to 0.6% of increase in 0.35 to 0.5% increase in the CAD, and almost 5.5% shaving off of the GDP growth. Right now we're looking at multiples of tens.
Yeah.
So given this scenario, I think given the fact that the ethanol ecosystem is also seems to be having huge excess capacities and in distress, it's logical that these policies come out quickly, not only for offsetting the short-term issues that we're facing, but as a long-term correct path. And it's going to be a solution that's also going to help in furthering the emergence of second-generation ethanol as a commercially viable clean fuel. And I think given these factors, we believe that these enabling policies should come out early, and that then can enable all the OEMs to bring out their products in a very rapid way. Everybody's ready.
I want to take one last question. We have seen Brazil adopt this model in a big way. Do you have any sense of how much benefit it brought to Brazil? How much was its crude import reduced in percentage terms? Because that will give us some idea.
In fact, it's been huge. It's been a game changer for Brazil. And incidentally, they started this when there was a first oil shock in 73 odd, right? Ever since then, they've been a net exporter of energy, saving billions of dollars in terms of potential, import of fossil fuels, and also they've saved up huge millions of tons of carbon. Today, because of this program has run successfully there, while the monofuel available in Brazil is E27, which is E20 in India. Their national average use of ethanol is 55%.
Okay.
So that means a lot of people who have flexi fuel vehicles are using E100, and that's why the national average is going up. Right now, Brazil is a net exporter of fossil fuels. It has huge fines. Despite that, it is sticking to its ethanol economy simply because of the multiplier effect it has, the positive multiplier effect on the economy, especially the rural economy. And we are similarly placed. You see, for us, excess of rice, broken rice, excess of sugarcane is going to be a reality going forward no matter what, because it's an issue of political economy. In India, our problem was dealing with these surpluses. Earlier, we were spending huge amounts of taxpayers' money either to export the surplus sugar with a subsidy,
Yeah.
or seeing huge volumes of food grains going waste, rotting, literally rotting on platforms, railway platforms. Now the government, what is done with this program is literally put that to use.
Yeah.
So with that, there is also this money flowing back to the rural economy, and that is seeing other second order benefits. And these benefits are around the fact that the farmers, along with the local ecosystem, is beginning to use better seeds. They're using better irrigation technologies. Drip irrigation is coming in. People are using AI.
Yeah.
People are using technologies for optimizing the use of fertilizers and insecticides. So
Yeah.
this is improving the yield. So as far as we are concerned, we are in the beginning stage of this. It can be a tremendous boost not only to agrarian economy, but a huge benefit to the country in terms of energy security and lowering our dependence on imports.
Interesting, you spoke about food wastage, but there is also a concern, two concerns. One, there were some reports saying that ethanol production in India uses exorbitant amount of water, and the second one is our food security. Do you think if something like this happens in India, because India is also a large nation with a lot of people still hungry? So, do you think we can find a balance between these three factors of ethanol, self-reliance on one hand, water security, and food security?
Well, water, I think you're referring to an article which talked about 10,000 liters or
10,000, yeah.
something. It's an absurd amount. I think there's a report out there by ICRA which talks about 1,000 liters in rain-fed areas. But I think what we should be worried about is, why are we using 1,000 liters, if at all? Why aren't we using 300, 500, which is the international norm, right? Rather than worrying about that aspect, I think we should be worrying and working around reducing the amount of water that's being utilized further. So it's not that huge amount of water, number one. Number two, there is plenty of headroom to decrease that, both by using technologies, better irrigation technologies, better seeds, better varieties, increasing yields, etc. As far as the food part is concerned, like I said, India is not an India of 1950s. Today, India is a country where our country, we should be proud to say, is running a free food program for 800 million people. Mm-hmm. Nobody is going hungry. In fact, our food is rotting. The surpluses are there. Rice is going to increase in terms of production year on year, no matter what you do. Sugarcane, same thing, right? What you do with these surpluses, you have only two choices. Either let them rot and go to waste, or use taxpayer money to export some surpluses, because international prices are lower than domestic production costs. Or you use that smartly into something that's economically beneficial to offload the burden that you have of an import. Those are the only two choices. So if you don't want to do ethanol, fine, then be ready to just waste it. I think that's the reality today. I think people should look at it. 5 years back, I think media was covering this extensively, when showcasing, huge amounts of food rotting, literally rotting in Punjab, in Haryana, many other
Well, that's
places.
also a logistical issue, more
It's
than
an
demand
issue
issue.
it's an issue of surplus. It's not a logistical issue. We simply are producing much more than what we consume. Right? What do you do with that? People say that okay, you can change shift to other cereals, etc., which where we are short. Yeah, that's fine. But is it happening? It's not happening. Let's do that if we can. But if it's not happening, if we have surpluses, then why complain that this is being put to good use for the environment, for society, for the country? So I think we should be pragmatic. This is a huge opportunity. And remember, this is an initial stage. The bigger game lies in second generation and third generation.
Okay.
That's where we should invest money in R&D so that second generation ethanol, which is being produced, its cost of production goes down a bit, and then it becomes commercially viable. What it means by second generation is ethanol produced from parali, which we burn, which is again additional benefit to the farmers. Third generation is ethanol from municipal waste, right? That is a reality.
That we produce a lot.
Yes, and therefore it's a huge potential. And so I don't think we should get bogged down by saying that these are the issues. We should work towards improving the use of water for production of food grains or sugarcane. We should use money wisely for investing in new technologies for second generation. We should enable carbon markets to have their play because both these fuels are carbon neutral.
Yeah.
And in Brazil, whoever is producing ethanol, they are getting carbon credits, which is being sold, which makes the ethanol that much more cheaper or gets more money in the pockets of farmers.
Yeah.
So there is so much to be done. We don't need to be dependent on any country for any technology, any raw materials.
Yeah.
We can go towards sustainable mobility in a much, much bigger and faster way with this approach. And of course, it has to be an all-inclusive way ahead, which includes all clean technologies, whether it's battery electric or other electrified technologies like strong hybrids, plug-in hybrids, along with this, along with CBG, along with ethanol. All of these are needed. Remember, last year we sold around 4.6 million cars, right? 14%, I think 14%, I think thereabouts growth year on year.
Yeah.
This April has been the highest ever.
Yeah.
Now, with the number of vehicles that we're putting on the roads, if they're not using clean energy, they're going to be using the traditional fossil fuel energy for 15 years minimum.
True.
So if we reach, let's say, 20% EV penetration by 2030, and if we reach 6 million cars or 7 million cars, that means 80% of 6 million is 4.8 million will still be using non-electric energy. So hence, this is needed.
Yeah.
Every clean energy technology is needed.
All right, Mr. Gulati, thank you so much for taking time out and talking to us and making everything so clear. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot.